Searching for tech solutions is difficult, especially as organizations grow in size. Are you hoping to find the holy grail all-in-one system that will meet all your needs? Or are you considering a complex integration of several systems? How do you know which questions to ask to help anticipate your needs before you even pick new tools or technology? With questions like these, it's hard to know where to start. Today, we will offer recommendations that can help your organization plan a strategy to put technology to work. For small and developing chapters, relationships are the lifeblood of their mission. In this webinar, we will be discussing CRM strategies and tips that can connect and cultivate the people that matter most to your mission. You will also hear firsthand from representatives of DSUSA chapters to share insights on how they have tackled this challenge at their organization. They will share their opinion on tools they are using and strategies they've utilized to discover, implement, and maintain these systems. Please note our disclaimer here. The webinar is designed for peer-to-peer sharing among our chapter network. Follow-up questions may be best directed to vendors of the software you're interested in. This session is not intended to endorse any specific program or strategy. We will be discussing various options today, each of which have different strengths and weaknesses. Make sure you think through the processes that are most important to your organization and choose the system that will work best to support them and all your other needs. We guarantee you'll leave with more questions than you came here with, and rest assured that's not a bad thing. Is it time for a tech tune-up? It's easy for us to get bogged down in what we are working on and not recognize easy fixes to better our program. How much time does your staff spend accessing, updating, and using data? What efficiency gains could you be overlooking? Technology can help programs run more efficiently in a number of ways. Using electronic surveys with built-in analytics features makes sense of the feedback we get to help improve logistics and scheduling. Task automation helps to streamline day-to-day administrative duties like reminders to participants and volunteers for an upcoming event. Technology can also enhance communication between departments and eliminate redundancies. It's important to recognize that data is a strategic asset and gives you a competitive advantage if managed properly. For example, in programs, data can lead to a deeper understanding of the relationship between activities and results. With grant writing, it's always best to make your case with data. And in individual donor fundraising, using data to make decisions about targeting appeals by interest and donor capacity is more effective than blasting your whole list repeatedly and reduces the risk of donor fatigue over time. What is a CRM? We keep using this acronym, but do we know what it means? The customer or constituent relationship management system allows you to track a 360-degree view of all your interactions with constituents. It originated in the corporate world, but has come to be embraced by nonprofits. In fact, there are hundreds of CRMs out there, including over 50 that are specialized for nonprofits. There are a number of functions that CRMs can support. For example, tracking multiple addresses for a single person, logging a record of correspondence with a single person, duplicate record detection, and so on. These functions vary in level of sophistication depending on the program you're using and the customization that you have accomplished. Many CRMs are relatively expensive for nonprofits or even free, but as we all know, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. It is important to understand that these systems tend to be more of a platform you can customize rather than an out-of-the-box solution. At first glance, CRMs look appealing. Who wouldn't want a low-cost means of tracking everything in one place? but the reality is that such systems can prove to be a lot more effort than is immediately apparent. Each of the available CRMs out there provides different strengths and weaknesses. Make sure you think through the processes that are most important to your organization and choose the system that will work best to support them and all your other needs. Here are 5 things to consider in a CRM. Systems that track all of your constituents at once are tempting, and keeping data about everyone in a single place seems like an obvious solution. But these systems often need substantial customization to accomplish this, especially if your organization supports multiple complex processes. For example, if you're tracking participant records for your lesson program and do complicated event management for major donor fundraising, there may be a great amount of customization needed in any system. Your organization may be better off having multiple systems for each process you are trying to support, rather than one complex and costly CRM. In deciding to go with a CRM, the first step is to identify all the different types of constituents you'll be tracking. Make a list and remember to go beyond the obvious, not just athletes, donors, and volunteers, but other people like vendors, press, partners, parents, visitors, or any other people you work with. Be as comprehensive as possible. For each constituent, think about the particular processes you need to serve them. You provide lessons to participants, for example, or try to get donors to continue giving, but you're probably doing more than that too. Do you provide outreach to participants? How do you thank your donors and volunteers? Consider the full life cycle for each constituent, reaching out to new ones, convincing them to do something or take action, and providing services or follow-up, and identify what you do to support each process. With these needs in mind, look at the different CRM packages available to you. How much of what you want to do is out of the box? How much will you have to customize, and how complicated is that customization? A consultant is likely to be helpful in this area to help you understand the capabilities of each system and what functions might be outside their reach. Next, each CRM package has different reporting tools and each its own unique limitations. Think through what types of reports you're likely to need and make sure the system you're considering is able to create them. And because reporting tools vary considerably in their ease of use, make sure the people who are going to need to create the reports are able to work with the available interface. Next, integration. And by that, we mean how does it communicate with other systems? Although almost all of the common CRM systems are online hosted systems, some are surprisingly difficult to integrate with other programs, for example, web forms. If you want people to be able to sign up for your newsletter or make donations online, make sure it's possible to set up without too much effort or additional expense. Think through how you'll send emails and what the process will be for creating mail-merged letters for printing, and any other processes that involve integration with another program. For accessibility, consider if you will need to access the system on the go. Most CRM systems are internet-based, making them available from any computer with an internet connection. Staff working in the field may need to access the system on their smartphone or tablet. If this is something you want, make sure the system you choose is optimized for mobile use. Furthermore, it doesn't matter how powerful the system is if your staff can't figure out how to use it. Compare your options for ease of use, looking specifically at the processes that will be done with the most frequency by the widest number of people. It's always useful to pull some of the people who will actually use the system into your selection process, including demos of the system for their input. Last, think about what support you'll need moving forward. Free and open source systems do not have a vendor you can call if you have a question. Instead, you'll need to either train a staff member to learn to support the system or hire a consulting firm to provide on-call support. Traditional vendor-supported systems offer varied levels of support and pricing structures. A lot goes into researching and selecting your software, but bear in mind the real work begins after you sign the contract. If you only try to get by doing the minimum, you won't get the value that your investment deserves. Managing data is hard and takes expertise and training. If your organization has strong processes, a culture of learning and accountability, and courageous leadership, your CRM implementation will propel you to new heights. If your organization is well-meaning but scattered, technophobic, and leadership is too distracted to nurture the implementation, you're unlikely to reap the rewards that a CRM can offer. So ask yourself, are you ready to invest the people, the time, and the money that it takes to see this through? Some software has a low initial cost, but tends to be more time-consuming and costly in the long run. Make sure you are taking into consideration the total cost of ownership. These costs associated not only with the launch, but also maintaining the system over time. Forecast these recurring costs based on the current numbers and the organization's future growth. When evaluating the total cost of ownership, there are three main elements an organization needs to consider. First, acquisition costs, which include user licenses, costs of third-party applications, among other things. Implementation costs, which help you design, build, and deploy your system. Also, data migration and staff training. And support and maintenance costs, needed to design and manage the ongoing development of your platform to meet your organization's evolving mission while creating additional value. Ongoing data management and development of the system is key to make sure you get the most bang for your buck. You may also have additional expenses in the future to solve any problems that arise and for ongoing staff training, as there is staff turnover and new volunteers joining the organization. So if you're getting ready to begin on this journey, there's three questions you should ask yourself. First, what do we need? Start by conducting a needs assessment. Evaluate your organization's needs and determine where your priorities are. Choosing the right technology is not a decision that you should enter into lightly. We're in the midst of a major technology revolution, and to embrace and succeed in this doesn't necessarily mean consuming more or replacing staff with new technology. Reflect on whether you actually need new software, or if you could revamp or better utilize what you already have in place. Consider the potential return on investment of new software. Where could you save time and improve results with better efficiencies in your process? Understand your goals, know what technology is already in place, and be familiar with basic standards for technology in an organization of your type and size. Next, priorities. You need to differentiate between must-haves and wish list items. Prioritize your tech improvements by those that offer a strong return on investment. Where can you get big gains for a small amount of dollars and effort? If you anticipate resistance among your staff, try starting with something small that will make people's work easier or more enjoyable. Involve them in the needs assessment and selection process. Staff will be able to provide you with insights you may not have otherwise known. Lastly, let's go back to people, time, and money. Who can help me? What does it take to build a selection team, and why do I need to assemble one? Bear in mind, this expertise doesn't have to come from you or your own staff. It can come from outside services or skilled volunteers. Think about what is a reasonable timeline to set from research to implementation, what costs are involved, and then work to establish a realistic timeline and budget.
Hi, this is Diana Helt and my colleague Shannon Hellen, and we are with Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association. We are joining you on the webinar here today to tell you a bit about Neon Z2 systems and their CRM functionality that we've been using here at GLASA for probably 3 or 4 years now. A couple of years ago, we were going from a primarily paper-based system and looking to use some technology to help us more efficiently go through some of our processes. As an organization that was really making the transition into technology for the first time, we were looking for technology that was straightforward, simple to use, functional for our needs. We looked at a couple of different programs like Little Green Light and some more, and found that really Neon Z2 systems was the best fit for us because it was specifically built for the nonprofit environment. It recognizes that in a nonprofit space, program participants that are engaging with your CRM software can be program participants, they can be donors, they can be volunteers, they can hold any number of roles throughout the organization, and those roles can shift over time. The other reason we chose Neon, quite frankly, was because it was affordable. Neon starts out with a 30-day free trial. So if you want to go in and poke around and kind of see what the software does and how it does it, you can join for free for 30 days. And then once you're up and using the software, you pay based on the number of contacts in your system. So if you're a small organization that only has under 1,000 people in your system, we started off paying $50 a month. As we grew and as we became more complex in our systems and processes, and as we began to really utilize the system more, we've moved up to different levels of support and different levels of cost. So we're now paying about $250 a month to house all of our contacts and to use some of the advanced features. So if you look on your screen, you can see all of the different features. We've specifically chosen some of the impact level features because we really wanted to do peer-to-peer fundraising. We wanted to have multiple campaigns. We wanted to take advantage of a lot of different things. The one thing that we decided was not worth paying for was some of the more in-depth product support things, phone calls, live videos, those sorts of a thing, because Neon does have a ticket system that works really well when you have questions or concerns. You can send them a ticket and they will respond usually within a couple of hours or at most within 1 business day to help you better understand how to use their software, how to address any challenges. So we thought that we weren't necessarily in a spot where we needed the on-demand training. But I'll let Shannon talk to you a bit more about what she found associated with the software and how we use it.
Thanks, Diana. So as an organization, we primarily use 3 of the modules for Neon. We use the account module, which is for donors, organizations, everybody that we want recorded or we want information on is under the account system. They are entered in through either a fundraiser, so they're either a donor or an organization that gives a grant. That sort of thing would go under fundraising. We also have events where people come, obviously, and they register through Neon. This is also a place where our members can register for our daily programs, our weekly programs. And then, of course, we have the members. So as a donor, Neon tracks all donations by campaigns. So say you have 3 different campaigns going. You have your annual campaign, you have your Twilight event that you have sponsors for, that would be a campaign, and then you have your unrestricted campaign. So you have your monies in different buckets, so to speak, and Neon is very good at doing that. You can record your donations either online. In other words, somebody can go in via a link and they can donate online. You don't even have to touch it. Or if you get checks or cash, you can go in the back end and you can add those donations in on the back end. Neon is very good because it has a wealth screening as well as reports for various uses. So if you want to run any kind of report, you can see some of the ones that I have here. You can design your own, or they have different reports that you can design that they have already set up. Daily reports, one-click reports, and different functions. So they have in these different areas, you can look at your donation, you can do your current year total donation, and it goes on from there. The membership module is very nice also because a new member can go from our website, they can click on join here, they can go in and they can pick what membership they want. They set up their own payment. It's completely hands-free by the staff. You can also go in the back end and you can register the member. You can set up custom fields. So when you do have somebody pulled up, I'll put myself in here so you can see this. And it will show you all of the different custom fields that we currently have. This is one of the accounts. Obviously, it's me. I'm not a member, but I do have some of the custom fields filled out. It will have the membership history. It has all of the email history, and then it'll show you all of the donations, the event registrations that this particular person has. You can do surveys. Obviously, it looks like it will be removed soon. That's not going to be available anymore. Social fundraising, if they want to set up a page to raise money for GLASA or for your organization. Constant Contact is also integrated with Neon now, so if my email address was in here, it would show all of the constant contacts that have been sent to me over a period of time. The event module is used, you can use this for weekly programs like we do, excuse me, or for fundraising events as well. So it allows you to create different price points. It allows you to take those tickets online. It allows you to advertise on Facebook and through flyers where they can just directly log in and register for an event through Neon. It records it'll give you an attendee list. I'll go into one of our events. So we'll do just this one. So this is what it looks like on the back end. These are this is the attendee list, and these are quick reports that you can just click on and it will automatically spit out a report for you that you can also configure later if you want. These are custom fields that if you want specific information for an event, you can get some of this information from your people. And one of the nicest things is that you can also have your waiver online so you don't have a bunch of papers to go through. Neon processes the payments through PayPal. One of the important features that we feel and that they now allow the payor to decide whether or not they want to pay the credit card fees. That can be a huge savings to your organization as well. One other thing as far as communication, I already mentioned the emails, but you can also set up thank you letters, donation letters, tax letters. You can do those according to the campaign, and they will, you can do a batch of letters, and it is quickly and easily done for you. So then all you have to do is put them in the envelope and send them off. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Diana as we talk about some of the challenges or shortcomings that we've discovered about Neon over the last few years.
Sure. Thank you, Shannon. As we mentioned, we've been using this system for about 3 years. And over that time, we've definitely done a lot of things the hard way. So in an effort to hopefully help some folks avoid some of the pitfalls that we fell into, we wanted to really recommend, before implementing a CRM system, really do an audit of your data. What data do you already have? What data do you want to collect? And how do you want to use it? One of the first errors we made in setting up our system was we decided, instead of charging a fee per program system, charging somebody $25 for basketball, whatever the case may be, that we were going to go to an annual membership system. So folks could either pay once a year or they could pay on a monthly installment. We went ahead, we built all of our fields in membership thinking that's where they belong. But in reality, you're only allowed to put membership fields in certain membership reports. What we actually wanted was to use account custom fields. So very early in exploring Neon, recognizing the difference between account custom fields, event custom fields, and membership custom fields, and really learning how each of those different fields can be pulled into reports and be able to be used well. The other thing that we recognized after spending a lot of time getting Neon set up is that the grants module is really not as helpful as you think it's going to be. It doesn't talk to any of the finance modules. So if you are using grants, go ahead and set them up as a traditional organization, just like you would any other organization in your system, and then use the tracking features to go ahead and still track when your deadlines are, what information you've sent to grantors, all of those sorts of things. But if you set it up as an organization instead of setting it up in the grants module, it will better interface with your finance pieces of the puzzle. So that was the other thing we learned the hard way. While there were definitely some bumps in the road and we're still kind of working on getting QuickBooks integration set up, we chose Neon because there are really some pros to it in addition to some of the cons, but we found it was inexpensive. It was designed specifically for nonprofits, and it does have a really great knowledge base area where you can go and you can start to look up some of the challenges that you may have. You can use their help section. Neon does have a lot of pre-recorded webinars where they'll actually do, just like you're doing today, walk you through with screen share how to use pieces of their software. That has been really helpful. Shannon can speak to some of the cons associated with the system and the fact that it may not necessarily be intuitive. I know that's something she's been working on.
Yes, so Neon that is really one of the biggest cons that I have about Neon is that it is not very intuitive. They do appear to be working on it. As you can see, there's a lot of white spaces. It used to be that they had a old interface, and a lot of Neon is still in the old interface, but this is what it looked like, the dashboard and how they've changed it. And so it's not a whole lot of different, but once you start using it, you can really tell the difference. The other drawback that we found in Neon is that the calendar does not work well with recurring events. So we have decided as an organization that it is better to go in seasons with our programs rather than day-to-day programs, and use another calendar program outside of Neon. It takes a little bit of time on the other end, but not quite as much time as it would to enter every single program, every single practice in Neon. So that's it in a nutshell. We will be with the webinar later to answer some questions if you should have them, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you all.
At Maine Adaptive, we use Microsoft Access. It is part of Microsoft Office Pro, which you can get for about $45 through TechSoup, which is nice and cheap. We switched into Access before I started with Maine Adaptive, so I'm not positive how much they spent, but they did talk to an outside consultant and had some help setting up the kind of the bones of the database, and definitely had help with moving all the data into the database, all the participant and volunteer, and at that time also the donor and fundraising information that we had. So that was all done. I don't believe it was much more than a few $1,000s, but I'm not positive. Since I've been there, I came in with no Access experience, so I took a few classes and probably spent about $500 in classes to get to the point where I can customize it, and have created a lot of forms and reports so that the staff that are using it aren't looking at basically data tables. They can enter something that prompts them for dates, gives them drop downs, and makes that a little cleaner. And what I thought I would do is go through kind of the flow of a season to show you how we use Access and some of the information that can be stored in there. All right, so paperwork comes in and we will get volunteer, participant, everything is based out of one location in Access. So we have our master entry form, and that has the contact information, a friendly picture, and all the tabs for everything that we were going to enter this person as. So if Liz Peacock here is a volunteer, her volunteer information is going to be down here. She was a participant, we go to the participant tab, we would have all of that information, disability information, equipment, everything like that. For volunteers, if we want to track the training that they have, any certificates, certifications, winter certifications, we can do all that. We use a lot of drop downs, so we can make entering a lot easier. The dates, lesson requests come in, and we can enter what they want to do, confirm what we can. If we can't confirm anybody for a certain day, we have too many volunteers, we don't have enough spots open, leave it open for the wait list. Same thing with the students, where they're doing, what they're doing, the equipment they need, and whether we can confirm them or not. Again, I would just keep everything right on that same form. We do have slightly different information that we track for winter versus summer, so that's why we have two tabs, but ultimately it's all feeding off of the same thing, so we can customize it for however we need. So we have all the dates, we have confirmed what we can, and now we're going to be sending out lesson lesson confirmations to the participants and the volunteers. So this will tell them when, where, and what they're doing. If we have any specific information that we want to add, we can do that down below and let them know that our specialty camps will be confirmed later, there are wait lists, anything else we just add to the bottom. And so this would be mailed, it's set up so that the address fits right into a window envelope, so we don't have to relabel anything, which is nice. And then once the season's rolling, we'll run a query so that we'll get the email addresses for people, and we do this through a mail merge as an email, and basically send lesson reminders weekly. And so it's a couple steps. We don't do it right out of Access. When the programs are running, the program staff print out sign-in sheets so that they can record who's here, what they need. We'll track who they're working with. And again, if anybody needs a release form, that's on here as well. Phone numbers, if we need to call anybody, if they're going to be bringing their own EpiPen, we like to know that. We do track no-shows, no excuses, cancellations, and this will all get just checked off on a clipboard, brought back to the office, and then we'll update Access from there. We do the same thing with the volunteers, so just a sign-in sheet real quick, and then bring that back to the office so that we know. All of the reports that we run, the daily sign-in sheets, training reports, anything like that we can customize. This one here is what we would use for the tennis program, and you can see that we've added a couple of different things here. Veterans, it would be checked off if they were. We want a zip code because we're sharing some of our resources with another program. They're sharing with us, and it's a veterans related, and this just makes it easier for everybody when we are going back and working out grant information. So that is kind of nice. And then all of these forms come back, we've got all the information, and now we need to start figuring out what we did. So for the Paralympic sports clubs, for DSUSA grants, for our own statistics tracking and seeing how many people we've served, we can run, this is showing everybody that was here last winter, mostly, and we did 2273 units. From there, we can summarize it and just get individuals, which is helpful for a lot of folks, and have all the information that we need for whatever we're reporting out on. And that makes it a little bit easier. One of the best things that has been added to Access over the last couple of years is the Switchboard. And this allows us to have custom groups. So where I have all the things that I use pretty regularly, and there's a bunch, somebody like Kent, who is our equipment manager in the winter, who really only cares about what equipment he needs to set up the next day, then he can just run his one report, and it's fed so that it automatically will show him who's coming in that day at Sunday River and what the information is that he needs. So Access has served us very well. However, it is definitely something we are outgrowing. Its pros are that it's very customizable. With a few classes, it's pretty easy to learn what you need to know to set up something and really get the information that you want out of it. However, it is not mobile friendly at all. You really need to be on a PC, and the only way we are able to use it outside of the office is through linking into our server and connecting to it that way. It's clunky. The data really needs to be entered manually. There are ways to have people update their own information, but that ended up being way more work on our side, fixing what they've entered. And that's all I have to say about Access.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm the Snow Sports Director at Ignite Adaptive Sports. I'm also the developer of the scheduling software package AccountsX, which I have been developing over the past 10 years. I'd like to present some items you want to consider when looking into a CRM system. The cost of it. There's all sorts of factors there, so look at all the options. Security. Is the server secure? Is there secure communications, and are your databases encrypted when they're backed up? Can you import all of your valuable data for staff and students? Can you customize the system for terminology and your methodologies? You're going to have to work with the vendor to achieve all these goals. Will the vendor provide training? Take time in integrating. Some places take at least a year or more. Use multiple solutions, like MailChimp for bulk mails, Donor Perfect for managing your donors, and a public website to show off the best of your organization. We're looking at the main dashboard for Ignite Adaptive Sports, and this is in the super user mode. There's a number of different permissions. I've obfuscated all data so that privacy can be maintained for our staff and students. We're just going to have a really quick look at this. This is, of course, a big menu system, and this is for super users. You can do all sorts of things. The dashboard down here, this would be the same dashboard that a regular instructor would see. And so would this part be the main dashboard for a regular instructor? This again is a higher level permissions segment of the dashboard. You can go into your profile and you can look at it. This is all configurable, so every site can look different and hold different pieces of data. You can configure all your own disabilities if you don't like these. If somebody has one, they just check it. Everything is immediately saved in the system, so you don't have to go in and push save buttons and worry about people properly saving their data. The schedule can be completely configurable too. This one has an AM/PM sign up. Other ones have a program sign up where you just sign up for a whole set of days at a certain site. Others have one sign up for the full day, and there could be multiple sites. If I want to sign up for something, I simply check on it. There's a cutoff which you can configure that says when you can no longer make changes to your schedule. If you have a clinic, you'll see that this reads that you're signed up for a clinic here. This is the view of another organization. This one has multiple sites for all of their lessons and events. And again, we're in the mode of the super user. We're going to look at their season setup option here. So here we go. And the season setup is something you configure once a year. And it does all of your time, your sites, your locations for clinics, and if they're associated with other sites, and the name of your school. It also controls what can be seen at this time of year. It has all the codes for your teams. And each team has a set of activities. And so your instructors have activities, your students have activities, and if you so desire, your instructors or your staff can have clinics that they can pass and get ratings on. We're now looking at the Make Assignments page. This is a day in the winter that we're looking at here. We have our list of instructors here. We have our list of students here. There's special color coding for conflicts with instructors. You can click on anybody's name for students or instructors, and you can get at all of their information. To make an assignment, you simply drag and drop. To filter, suppose I wanted to know all of my instructors who could do 3-track. Well, there you go. Or who could do ski bikes. And there they are. So it's really easy to filter stuff. I can also go back to staff attendance here and fill in other activities, such as if this person happened to be a equipment today, or a supervisor, or some other activity that really didn't relate to lessons. I can go in and see the daily schedule, which gives me a list of all the instructors showing up and all the students showing up, and what their presumed activities are, how many instructors they need, and what the groups are that are coming. All right, right now we're looking at group management. And so this is how to handle all your student groups that come in, and you can set them up to have their own events, or they can take individual lessons, however you would like to do it. And so we have a main dashboard here that has all of our groups in it. And we can look at different things like reserving dates. And this says, okay, this group can come for these days and bring this amount of people. We can go to their schedule and we can say, okay, they have right now 2 people left remaining, and so we're going to pick this person and they're going to do Nordic, or we could change their activity, and we're going to pick this person, and if we tried to pick one more, it would say, oops, you can't do that. So what happens here is you can nominate a group administrator. And so that's someone as part of the group. We give them a login. They have the active students, inactive students, schedules, events, invoice, and detailed invoice for their group only. So they can come in and easily manage things. We're going to have a quick look at clinic setup right now. And clinics are what you use for instructor training or instructor work parties or other instructor activities. You can do all sorts of things like email everybody and select them and print out attendance forms and import from the previous season. Here's all of our teams that we defined at one point in time. Let's look at Alpine. If it's in gray, it's passed. If it's not in gray, it's still to come. This is the dashboard for all clinics. It's got all sorts of controls and everything. And these are sort of a brief setup of what's really in the clinic controls itself, but it makes it easier to review. You can see all the clinic leaders. You can see all the participants. You can grade the participants, whether they attended and how they did in the clinic, and give them comments. They can all see it. You can send emails to the participants if you want. Here's the page that the staff use to sign up for clinics. You'll see here's all the clinics I've already been assigned to, and here's if I want to carpool with somebody, I can find out who else is going to that clinic that would like to carpool. We also have some color coding for all of our teams. We have difficulty levels. We have training requirement links. You can change the view that you see, and you can filter clinics. And here's what the calendar looks like, and we can see that on this one here, I am on the wait list for this clinic, and it tells me where it is and what category it's in. Suppose I wanted to sign up for this bi-ski clinic here. I would just go into it. I can click on it, sign me up. I'm done, and there you go. And it shows me I'm part of that clinic now, and we saw the previous views of where all the members are and everything like that. Reports page. It has all sorts of different reports in it. You can get really boring ones, such as one that'll just give you a page of numbers, like the disabilities count. Or you can go back and you can get something more colorful, like I want to find out all females who participated in lessons this year that had a spinal cord injury. So I set the date range quite high. I come over to spinal cord injury. I click on the females. There they are. I can dump their list. I can go and look at one of them and find out what their profile looks like. And there you go, report. Please remember, the demonstration was done primarily with a one-site organization. Only a small portion of the system was demonstrated. It is highly customizable, and it is for sale. If you have any questions about my presentation, you're welcome to contact me at snowsports@igniteadaptivesports.org. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Hello, my name is Keely Ames. I work for Northeast Passage. We're a program of the University of New Hampshire and a chapter of Disabled Sports USA. We offer adaptive sports programming, an adaptive equipment rental program, and clinical recreation therapy programs. Thanks to DSUSA for having us on the webinar to share our Salesforce platform. If you are considering Salesforce or you have additional questions, I'm happy to answer them at the end or to connect with you offline if that is helpful. Northeast Passage has used Salesforce since 2009. It came recommended to us from a company that we hired to help us improve our processes. We realized we had, I think, 17 different places we were storing information, an iCal calendar, spreadsheets, a custom FileMaker Pro database, paper and clipboard, and we really wanted to put everything into one system. So we chose Salesforce, honestly, because of the 10 free licenses from the Salesforce Foundation. At the time, I think we had 8 employees, and that just really made sense. We can get this really great system. But we quickly found out that we needed to invest in it to get it to speak our language and do what we needed it to do. So we hired another company at the time to help us get online and get in and get going. And then in 2016, we reevaluated. We'd experienced some rapid staff and program growth and needed Salesforce to catch up with us. So we re-looked at it again, and what you're going to see today is what happened after that 2016 redo. Salesforce is a cloud-based sales platform. So cloud-based means that you can access it from anywhere. It's the world's #1 CRM. So it is a sales and business platform first and foremost. The Salesforce.com Foundation does give a ton back to nonprofits. There are a number of nonprofit resources, and they really do cater to nonprofits on that foundation side of their business. For us, Salesforce has meant improved information organization, so anyone can access the information that's in here here. They can register people for events, answer questions, book equipment, see someone's history with us. So it's really improved communication and collaboration among our staff, and then also improved our customer service for those same reasons. It's made us much more efficient. I don't know what we would do without it. And it's improved our analytics and our data in terms of reporting. So if we need to do our annual report or a grant report, or we just are curious about how we're doing, what our impact is, we can run reports on literally every field in Salesforce and get the information out that we need. Salesforce is our foundation. We start and end with Salesforce. It literally does everything. The only thing it doesn't do for us is fundraising. As a program of the University of New Hampshire, our fundraising records are kept with the University Foundation, so we didn't want to duplicate those efforts and those records. But literally it does everything else for us. So it's our contact and demographic information, including health form info and a history of participation with us, equipment rentals and inventory management, including maintenance records, adaptive sports and recreation, event management, including registrations and communications. We own a number of vehicles and trailers that we use for our program, so that manages those staff reservations, invoice management and money management for all of our programs. And then our clinical program documentation, treatment plans and goals are in there as well. And then again, reporting on all components of our program. I'm going to show you our system now. Just a word of caution. Everything you're going to see here today is custom developed for us. So you may see some things that are applicable to you. You may see some things that are not, but literally this was a whiteboard brain dump with our staff to get it to do everything that we wanted it to do. So when you get Salesforce, it wouldn't look like this. And we've put quite a bit of time and money into it to get it to do what we needed. So this is Salesforce. Salesforce is working on updating their interface to Lightning. We haven't quite updated to that yet, basically because of our customizations, but we're headed in that direction. Salesforce operates off of a contacts and account system, again, that sales language. So we keep track of literally everyone we come in contact with in one way or another. We keep track of the way they want to receive information from us, their basic birth date, contact information. We have a health form that we have for every participant. You can see the full health form here, but that's just a quick glance for you, for anyone who has questions about them. A treatment plan if they're in our clinical programs, and then their history with us. So if they've rented something, if they've, are part of a group or a team, or they've done events with us, if they've been with us for a very long time, this would be, huge. This would have all their participation with us. So this is where we start. Then we operate off NEP events. That's custom language for us. So our staff input events, and then anyone can come to this page and get the basic information. So the dates, the times, the location, the fee, all that kind of stuff. We can set capacities. We have limits around that. We have web information, so our staff can put this information in. I can review it and post it to the web, so we're not duplicating information input for publicizing. We have an email template that we send out all the particulars for our event, so the staff will write up the whole template when they're putting the event in, and then we can just send that out a few days ahead of time. We have sessions, so if we want to set up an event with multiple sessions, we can do that, and then assign people based on the session that they're in. We have registration here, so I just we add this Touche turtle. He's been added to our event. We've assigned him a piece of equipment. If you want to add new equipment to your reservation, we have this whole inventory management system. So this is our current trike schedule, so you can kind of see the things coming and going, and then things that are available for your event are able to be added. So you can add what you need under all the different categories of equipment that we have, and then it tracks your reservation. Again, we can assign people a certain piece of equipment, so if they make a request or something works well for them, we keep track of basic information, payment, consent form, physical form. If they have a preferred participation method or different information that would help our staff if someone else is registering them for the event. We also have this, it's called Chatter at the top. This has been really helpful in terms of communication with our staff. You can tag any staff member and keep the conversation related to this event on this event. So it keeps it out of email, but then also allows other people to see it. So helps keep other staff in the loop, particularly if there's something out of the ordinary or there's been changes. That's been really helpful for our efficiency. Salesforce has a number of third-party apps that you can use that you can add on top of your instance. So this one's called Calendar Anything. We use this for planning, for keeping track of what's coming and going. We can run, different filters and things like that. We also use DocuSign for online waiver signing, and we use a program called Conga for invoicing and our clinical documentation. Basically, that brings all the fields in Salesforce into a Word document or a PDF so we can send them out. We also offer competitive sports programs. So you can see here we have, you can set up a competitive team for your season. We have a roster, we have events so that all of the roster is attached to the events throughout the season. And the roster will follow that event. So all our staff has to do is take attendance on who attended a certain event. It just helps for those events that are see the same people over and over again. For reporting, you can report on anything in Salesforce. So this is a report on all the vehicle reservations that we had to help with conflicts, keep things organized. You can set different filters, different time frame. Every object you can report on, you can report cross object. So it just helps you pull the information out. This is another summary report on our different sports and the number of people that have participated. So just being able to pull that information out is really helpful. So my words of wisdom, Salesforce does come with a learning curve. I have spent a lot of time in this system learning how to use it, how it works, the ins and outs. Also, custom development is challenging. I'm not a programmer. I don't know how it works. I don't know what it's capable of. It comes with a lot of bugs and things that you need to work out that can add to your budget. So just some things that we didn't know ahead of time. Also, this is taking considerable time for me to administer. That's something that we didn't really consider, I don't think, is that you need an administrator to make sure that it's operating the way it should, that staff have their questions answered, that you can provide training, that things aren't broken, just making sure that everybody's kind of moving in the same direction. We spent a considerable amount of time on staff buy-in and adoption, making sure people are using it. And again, I think I mentioned before, but just the planning that went into customizing our system and making sure that we were prioritizing and getting the things that we wanted without going too crazy and spending money in places that we didn't need to. But it is costly. I think we probably have $100,000 or so in the system over the past 10 years. So just keeping all of that in mind as you move forward. The pros for us, in summary, the flexibility, it is cloud-based. You can access it anywhere. The mobile app is huge. The in-house ability to make changes, to create reports. You don't have to ask for outside help if you're familiar with that. So I can, add things or take things away based on the trends in our programs. And they do have training resources available through Salesforce. In terms of cons, I think it can be a complex system. And again, you do need a little bit of custom development probably, or even some help just to get it set up, and that can be costly. And then Salesforce does not offer support. So if you do need support or have questions, you need to get that from an outside company to help you kind of navigate that. So again, this was a really quick look at our system. I hope this is helpful. Feel free to ask questions or to contact me afterwards, and I'm happy to talk about our experience. It means, so much to us to be able to have this resource. And again, I don't know what we would do without it. So we're happy to share our experience. Thank you.